Hello everybody, welcome to my first chess video on my YouTube channel. Today I want to show you a very good game between Alexander Alekhine and Karl Helling. It's worth mentioning here that Alexander Alekhine is a world chess champion for more than 10 years. Okay, Alexander Alekhine play with white. He starts with d4, black answers d5, c4, c6, it's Slav defense, knight to f3. It is a main line in this opening. And now, black plays pawn to e6. The main line is bishop to f5. Black idea is to protect e4 square and prevent white to play e4. The other idea is, because of course black needs to play e6 in order to develop his bishop, usually on b4, and they want to have this white light square bishop active on this diagonal. It's much more active than on this c8 square. But in game was e6. White play e4 because there's no bishop on f5, and look, now both white's bishops are open, and also white grab the center, as we can see. Now white needs to be aware that the pawn on e4 is hanging because the knight is pinned. There's not many ways to defend this pawn. In game, Alexander play e5. Firstly, I thought he will go for knight, not knight, but queen to c2. But after b5, white will be pawn down, because after takes, knight can't take on b5 because it's still pinned. Of course, this kind of positions are playable for white, but probably white don't want to go for this position because his position is very good and they don't need to go for this continuation. So they play e5, knight to e4. Yes, attacking this knight on c3. Take a pressure on this knight. Now, of course, white needs to protect this knight, so they play queen to c2. And now, queen d5 looks like a very good move. Why? Because this queen protects this pawn on c4 and also protect this knight on e4 from bishop and knight on c3. But white has a very good and very simple plan to get the advantage in this position. They play bishop to e2. What they want to do is take a castle, and after the castle, the knight won't be still pinned, and this knight on e4 will find some difficulties, and the only square which is available for this knight is to take on c3. And there's no real way to protect against this plan. So black castle also, white castles, takes, and what's more, let's look that the pawn on d4 is now weak, because it can't be defended with any one of other pawns. Black can normally would like to play something like c5 and knight to c6 to attack those pawns in the center, but now it's impossible because they must do something with their knight on e4. They must take, and now this pawn, which grabs on c3, protects this pawn on d4 very well. The bishop must go back to e7, sorry, but anyway, it looks like black are still a pawn up, but here comes a very good move, knight to d2. Why it is so good move? Because of course white attack this pawn on c4. If black wants to protect this pawn with, let's say, pawn to b5, white can take, and after c takes b, there's a very strong move, bishop to f3, and white grab this rook on a8. So it's impossible to protect this pawn on c4. Black decided to go c5. Yes, of course, their plan is to put the knight on c6 and keep the pressure on those pawns in the center. Probably go somewhere with rook d8 and use those weak white pawns. But white play very good here. After takes on c4, there's no a good square for the queen, because in game black came back to d8, but both c6 and d7 squares are not good for queen. Why? Look at those pieces. They want to develop. Bishop really wants to go to c6, probably by d7 square to c6 to take the control over this long diagonal, which is very good for this bishop. So the only square is d8. And now queen e4. I really like this move. Looks very beautiful. Firstly, this queen is so active in the center, attacking many squares. And the second option, which is much more important, white wants to play bishop to d3, take control over this diagonal, threatening mate of course, and it's very hard for black to defend before it. The only way to play is to play somewhere g6, and of course it's something good, but look at those black squares. Maybe it's not very obvious here, but after some moves Alekhine will use it very greatly. C takes d was in the game. Blacks definitely want to take a pressure on this pawn d4, because it's now the weak pawn. Also you could see that the square on d5 is weak. If black are fast enough, they can control the square, and if white won't do anything to stop black, it can be that those pawns will be so weak and black will get better. But yes, so black continue with bishop to d7, and yes, of course, with idea to go to c6 and take a control of the square d5, but also this long diagonal and develop their pieces. Bishop to d3. Black, of course, must go g6 to protect pawn on h7, and now very good move. I think it's the point, the most critical moment of this game. It is why I choose this game to show you today. As I previously say, those black squares are weak. Bc5 is not that weak because black can defend it with b6 move, but white can take a usage of the squares, but the only piece that really defend them is that bishop. It's very important piece for black, and white makes a very good decision, and they put their bishop on h3. They want to exchange those bishops. Let's imagine, let's say that black takes this bishop and rook takes. Now white knight can go to d6 very fast, or to f6 very fast with a very good position, because this knight on those squares will be very good, will be a monster. So definitely black can't take on f3, not f3 but a3. Bishop c6, queen go to g4, because white needs to protect this pawn still. Rook e8, knight to c4. And now it's quite an important moment, and I want to say something more. Why not to take here? There's quite interesting variation here, because rook takes on e7, next knight c4, and now very good move, rook d7. They attack the pawn on d4, and it's very hard to protect them. The only way is to play knight d6, but anyway, it looks very good for white, but black can take this knight, takes. Even if black sacrifice a rook for knight and a pawn, they've got a very big compensation for it. Why? This pawn is weak, this square is weak. Black can finish the development very fast, attack this pawn, and what's more, now those black squares are no longer weak. Because white can't use them. What's more, black king is no longer weak. There's no way to attack him. So white decided to play knight c4 first. But now after h5, the queen must escape from many attacks, like h5, bishop g5 comes now, queen g3, and now another very interesting variation here. Why not to take on d4? Yes, because after queen to g5 takes, maybe there's some compensation, but I'm not so sure. Yes, black squares are still, but pawn down, and there's a much better variation here. You can calculate now if you want. You can stop the video. If you calculate something or just want to see what happened in the game, not in game because it's a variation, the best move for white is to play bishop takes g6. And now they can't takes here because after queen to g5 takes here and here. Okay, black are a piece up, but this position of black's king is very bad. White plan is to play, of course, takes this pawn with a check after king h8, takes this pawn, and later play rook e1, rook e3, and attack this king. It's very weak and hard to defend for black. It's losing, of course. And the game was bishop h4. And after queen to e3, the position is consolidate now, because after bishop to g5, white can play f4 and everything is okay. Black decided to go queen to d5. Be aware that it's a mate on g2, so white play f3 to protect this pawn. And now black played, I think, a very bad move, because I don't understand. I don't know why they get back with the bishop to d8. Probably they want to go for c7, and after not bishop but knight to d6, they want to capture it. But anyway, no, it's not a good position here. Maybe they want to, after knight to d6, somewhere go to b6 and attack this pawn on d4. But yeah, there won't be a moment when they can go for it, because now white play knight to d6, the rook is hanging, rook e7, and very strong move bishop c5. Why is it very strong? Look at this queen. It's not safe here, and after bishop c4 or bishop e4, this queen will be trapped. Anyway, there's one square left, b3, but after rook to b1, queen c3, and bishop to b4, the queen is definitely trapped forever. So the only way for black to be still in the game was to play b6. Bishop to b4, a5, bishop to d2. Everywhere the queen will be trapped, so white don't need to lose the bishop anywhere here. They play on d2, rook d7, and now quite an interesting idea, because after bishop c4, black wants to sacrifice the queen for 2 pieces, like it was in a game, and in fact it was quite good idea. Why? Because it's not so easy to win it immediately, because it's quite to push the pawns on king side. The pawn on d4 is weak, very good square on d5, but Alexander Alekhine find the best way to win this position. He activated his rook. This knight can't go anywhere because this bishop on c6 is hanging. Black plays rook at a7 in order to go to c7 and protect these pieces. White wants to double his rooks on c line to take a pressure for those pieces, and after rook d7 there's no this pawn on d4 is defending very well by white. Rook c1, bishop is handing. Black decided to play rook c7, and now very good moment again, even if white are much better here. Look at those three pieces. They are absolutely pinned, they can't go anywhere. Maybe this rook can go to c8, but it's not important here. The idea for white is to, as in the game, was queen to h8 and attack this black king, because those three pieces can't help the king. White played to queen to h6 in order to go bishop g5 and exchange those bishops and go with his pawns, and also take a usage of black squares, open a line, and simply activate his rook to attack black king. Bishop e7, g4. It's not so important what goes now, because there are many ways to win this position. Bishop g5 comes, take. Now black can't do anything, because those pieces are still pinned. Look, rook d7, f4, f5. Yes, it's so close to open a line. Takes, f6, and now black resigned. The position is absolutely loose for black. The queen is now so active. Look at those pieces. It's still pinned. Black king is so weak. Every white piece is very active. King is quite safe. No counter chances for black. Okay, so thank you a lot for watching my video today. If you want, you can comment, leave a like, and thanks again for watching my video, and see you soon. Bye bye.